Donald Trump is on a humiliation streak unlike anything in his political life. Loss after loss, embarrassment after embarrassment. And most of it is coming from inside his own MAGA circle. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, and now even MAGA-friendly media are turning on him, with Joe Rogan leading the charge. Rogan, who's been openly angry with Trump lately, just mocked him and even leaked his text, something I never thought he'd do. We'll get into all of it. But first, please leave a like. And if you enjoy the channel, hit subscribe because it really helps. Before we get to Rogan, we need to start with one of the issues pushing him away from Trump, the Epstein files and the new photos and videos Lawrence O'Donnell just broke down.
Another victim who was first engaged to provide massages to Epstein was then forced to perform sexual acts in the Virgin Islands. When she attempted to escape the private island, Epstein and a search party found her, returned her to his house, and suggested physical restraint or harm if she failed to cooperate. According to that description by the Attorney General of the Virgin Islands, Jeffrey Epstein was a kidnapper of children, a kidnapper and raper of children. That's who Donald Trump's closest friend was. Trapped them on an island when they desperately try to escape, desperately trying to find a way to cross that 2 miles of high current, difficult ocean between Epstein Island and St. Thomas, a swim that could cost them their lives. Jeffrey Epstein captures them, confiscates the passport. And Donald Trump and his Attorney General have spent the year telling people there is nothing to see in the Epstein files, nothing. There is no reason to release the Justice Department and the FBI's investigative file on Jeffrey Epstein and his criminal co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. The Democrats on the House Oversight Committee released the photographs of Epstein Island today. They said they released the photographs in the interest of transparency. Unlike Donald Trump and his Attorney General and his FBI director, Democrats on the House Oversight Committee want people to know what they are finding and what they are seeing when material is turned over to them from the Epstein estate and through other subpoenas they have served on financial institutions. The committee has received financial records from J.P. Morgan and Deutsche Bank, and the Democrats on the committee might be releasing some of that material after they have thoroughly examined it. And when they do, Donald Trump will once again threaten Venezuela or threaten immigrants in this country or in some other desperate and often hateful way try to use other people to distract attention from what his close friend, Jeffrey Epstein, did to that 15-year-old girl who tried to escape from his island, tried to swim for her life. And what Jeffrey Epstein did to the 11-year-old girl he brought to that island.
As I've been saying, Robert Garcia's work on the Oversight Committee has been outstanding, and his success has made one thing clear. The Epstein files are nowhere near finished. The photos, videos, documents, flight logs, and bank records that aren't in the released files, the ones subpoenaed from financial institutions, are massive. And with only 2 banks subpoenaed out of roughly 20 tied to Epstein, there is still a mountain of information coming. Garcia even emphasized this in our recent interview. No matter how hard Pam Bandy or the Trump administration tries to stall, they cannot stop subpoenas to the Epstein estate, survivor accounts, or new connections being uncovered. It completely destroys Trump's long-standing claim that this is somehow a hoax, especially now that Rogan is calling him out. Before we get into Rogan's leaked texts.
The Epstein files.
I heard there's no files. I heard it's a hoax. And then all of a sudden, he's going to release the files. Well, I thought there was no files.
Man.
He wants an investigation now.
Listen.
Like, what is going on?
They voted 427 to 1.
Who was the one?
Whoa, who's the one?
I didn't see why he said, but he did.
National security.
Let me pull it
No fucking way you gonna be the one. No,
security.
So it is very clear that Joe Rogan is finally waking up a little bit. I'm certainly not giving him credit for that. I'm not telling him to stop mocking Donald Trump. But you were a part of this, man. Like, you can't claim you're upset about the mass deportations when you were joking with Trump a year ago about mass deportations. You can't say that you're surprised he hasn't released the Epstein files when there was countless photos and video and audio of Trump with Epstein. It's insane to me. But Rogan is clearly fed up, because he's going as far as to mock Donald Trump now and sharing his text messages. Joe Rogan shares odd Trump's weird texting habit. Joe Rogan called 79-year-old President Donald Trump a kid and revealed his bizarre texting habit on his latest podcast. On Wednesday's episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Spotify's top podcast for the 5th consecutive year. Although Midas Touch is catching up, Rogan offered a surprisingly different take on the president, sharing anecdotes that pain him in an unexpected light. He makes the text go big, like USA is respected again, all caps, and it makes the text enlarge. It's kind of ridiculous, the text said to NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang. The two discuss their perspectives on the president, with whom they both have a friendly relationship. He's an odd guy, Rogan told the CEO, sharing that the president often texts or calls him out of the blue. The NVIDIA CEO has previously been called a friend and a smart man by the president, while Rogan, of course, endorsed him in 2024. Rogan admitted that much of the focus of the president is around negative narratives. Yes, because there are so many. But he also acknowledged that there's a lot of things he does that he shouldn't, including telling a reporter to quiet Piggy. Rogan has previously criticized Trump for flip-flopping on the release of the Epstein files, which the president, after months of claiming they didn't exist, later said he would be releasing them by signing legislation. The president, whom Rogan said can act like a 79-year-old kid, has, despite the deteriorating physical and cognitive health, been compared to a child on other podcasts this week. Rogan pointing out Trump's bizarre texting habits, the constant all caps, the frantic tone, the non-stop messages, instantly reminded me of that clip from VP Harris' DNC speech, where you could literally see someone typing out Trump's Truth Social posts for him. The all caps weren't even his. He had help. And while, yes, some of Trump's posts are obviously written by him, the misspellings and the completely unhinged ones, more and more, it seems like someone else might be handling a lot of his messaging. It also highlights a bigger issue. The media loves pretending that Trump's constant texting or calling somehow proves he's working hard, even when we're trying to have a serious conversation about his cognitive decline. People like Jake Tapper or Piers Morgan treat Trump messaging them random nonsense as if it's presidential work, when really it's just ego stroking. Trump texts them and they feel important. That's not work, that's flattery. Tapper even conducted a text-based interview with Trump without confirming who was actually on the other end, then vaguely mentioned there were questions Trump didn't answer, without telling us what they were. Amazing journalism, Jake. These people are so self-involved that they treat Trump's rambling messages as evidence of productivity. So let's drop this ridiculous narrative that Trump is grinding away at all hours just because he posts at 1 a.m. When I'm lying in bed scrolling Twitter, replying to nonsense, posting memes, and laughing at MAGA's collapsing polling, no one calls that hard work. And the same should apply to Trump. And speaking of nonsense causing chaos inside the administration, Pete Hegseth is once again in the headlines, and Chris Hayes called him out tonight.
Pete Hegseth was caught using a private signal chat from his private phone, non-classified communication channels, to share obviously sensitive military plans for an imminent operation in Yemen, including the phrase, quote, all caps, "This is when the first bombs will definitely drop." We know this because somebody on that Signal chat accidentally just looped a journalist in on the entire text chain. There was reportedly another text chain that included Pete Hegseth's wife. It was an operational security nightmare. Today, we got a full Inspector General report confirming as much. According to the report, Hegseth used a Signal, quote, risk potential compromise of sensitive DoD information, which could cause harm to DoD personnel and mission objectives. For their part, the Pentagon is calling the report a total exoneration of Secretary Hegseth. You've, of course, heard that phrase used by Trump before. Democratic Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona isn't buying it.
He's totally exonerated Hegseth.
Yeah, I saw he said that.
What do you make of that?
Of course he would say that. This is the same guy who, with these boat strikes, he's like, I'm not in the room. I was down the hall at the bathroom. I don't know where he said he was.
Pete Hegseth has been a complete disaster, but this was obvious from the jump that he would be. I mean, he's the most ludicrously, manifestly unqualified nominee that anyone of my generation, my age, has covered by far. I think possibly ever, but I can't say. Remember, Pete Hegseth barely, by the skin of his teeth, made it through the confirmation process. Vice President J.D. Vance had to break a tie to get him over the finish line. And the reason that he lost Republican votes and didn't get a single Democratic one is because there were a lot of justifiable concerns about this guy's fitness. First and foremost, it was pretty clear from lots of reporting that many people who'd worked with Hegseth or were in his orbit believed he had a significant drinking problem. Hegseth denies it. Hegseth pledged, though, to stop drinking after taking control of the Pentagon. And you might ask, has he? That's a good question. Who knows? There's also the issue of the misconduct allegations, which were considerable. Hegseth's own mother called him an abuser of women, a claim she eventually retracted after it became public. He also paid $50,000 to a woman who says he sexually assaulted her at a conservative conference in 2017. According to the police report that she filed, he physically blocked the woman from leaving her hotel room, took her phone, and then assaulted her, all while her husband and children were staying in the same hotel. Hegseth denies doing anything wrong. He said it was a consensual affair and called the settlement a nuisance suit.
When you build an administration out of Fox News personalities, you're going to get Fox News level chaos. And Pete Hegseth is the perfect example of that, and we're going to keep calling it out every single day on this show. If you want to support that work, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. And if you made it all the way to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.